Yo, what's up? Welcome back to the Church of Rod. Thank you for all the love I've been getting on my videos. 5P's got over 100 views and over 9 likes. I know that's not a lot, but trust me, every little view, every little like means a lot to me. So thank you for that. Thank you to Casey who's been commenting on my videos and the podcast. Thank you for the people who've been saying the podcast is funny in real life, coming up to us in real life, approaching us in real life. Appreciate all that. I like to give love back when I receive love. I think that's important. I think that's what God really wants us to do. But some of you may have seen those. I did those quizzes and those video and those those quizzes, history and geography quizzes. When I did it, I was like, man, I wish I had a face cam because I know they want to see my pretty face while I'm doing it and make sure I'm not cheating. But I didn't realize I could. I just didn't figure it out sooner. I should have just I didn't try to figure it out sooner. So today I'm gonna actually watch debate videos. The age-old question, does God exist? Christian versus atheist debate. I'm a Christian, so I'm gonna debate, and I'm gonna go, give my thoughts and opinions through it. Because I like to debate. That's one of my, I guess, I don't know if it's a flaw or just a personality trait, but I do like to debate on like, not like personal subjects, but like, world, what's going on in the world, the economy and stuff like that. I feel like it's better to debate on stuff like that than like really deep personal debates, in my opinion. But
God's existence cannot be proven.
It's like saying proof friendship. You know what I mean? Like, define proof. Like, what do you mean by proof? What evidence this person is my friend, but can I really prove it? Can I prove it in a laboratory? Can I prove it through my parents?
We shouldn't be trying to prove God's real. That's like the opposite of like, I think the point of spirituality, from what I've understood, is like proof itself is kind of the antithesis of what we're aiming at. We're actually looking for more like an understanding. And that's like proof is coming up and arguing, well, I know this and I know that, but like
see,
Who's right?
a truth is actually something we're all going to try to like agree on together.
These first two atheists are just speaking facts. My proof is the fact that the God of Abraham, with Jews, Christians, Muslims, his descendants, or his religion, they were after him. They did dominate the world. I mean, that's not by coincidence, in my opinion.
Isn't always based on proof,
Yeah.
so you can believe for many different reasons that you don't have to prove. Yeah.
Cool conversation. Really cool. And the idea of, let's understand what that proof means. I can say, with what I have to work with,
So obviously, I disagree with the pump.
this is a concrete floor, right? And I am wearing these shoes, right? Now, in another dimension, that could be water and I could be barefoot, right? Or my feet could look like frogs or something, I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, so the idea of, if you really want to get into philosophy and everything else and you start getting super existential and you're going, well, wait a minute, you can't really prove anything.
What?
But we have
So he likes another dimension. What is he talking about?
something to work with. We have this tangible reality that we're dealing with, right? So the Bible, for example, is the most thorough historic document ever of all time. That what scientists are now using
And that's a fact.
as a vehicle to prove out their theories. What is that corpse that's going to turn into tar very quickly? That's kind of what I mean too, is that, like, I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with the idea that my body is inhabited, basically, or I'm sort of a symbiosis of two or more organisms. I don't mind that at all, actually. But I think that then the flip or the switch over to assuming that now we're discussing the Judeo-Christian concept of God is my issue. It's actually, I don't have an issue with that concept either. It's not a concept I believe in, but I don't have an issue with it. It's just more that I have a problem when it comes to, not a problem, I have a,
So I like atheists like this dude because, he doesn't, you can tell he doesn't have a pre-bias against Christianity. He's an atheist because that's what he just genuinely believes. I'm not trying to be really, hateful or picking on anybody, but if you look at this guy right here or them right here, you know you know why they are anti-Christian. You know why they are. Because, but he has a, predetermined, I mean, Christians have probably assaulted him in the name of Christianity, which is not what we're supposed to do. So he probably has, I mean, just natural. He, on the other hand, he's just more objective about it.
it's a drawback in conversations, because we're like talking about an habitation of like the corpus. I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then all of a sudden it's that word proof goes to, what is the Judeo-Christian God, right? What do you have? What's your input in that has brought you to the conclusion of what that actually means? But as simple as going outside and looking at a plant, that to me proves God. This plant, everything that is, proves God.
I actually agree with that. When I look at the Earth, I think like the Earth is objectively beautiful because, first of all, humans are the only known species that have the concept of beauty. And I always say God is like the first artist. You look around, like this Earth is not by coincidence. I don't care.
And
So I'm not gonna watch every single prompt all the way through because I think they're kind of gonna end up talking in circles. So I can see it coming up, but I will say you I think it's gonna come on, like I said, she was talking about how her journey and coming to Jesus, how she was lost in life. It's gonna come down to faith, a faith person is gonna say yes, God's existence can be proven, like me. But a non-atheist is gonna say from a scientific standpoint, his faith cannot be proven. It comes down to it's gonna be there's no objective way to. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe you can say objectively say by science you can't prove it, but I believe there is proof. I feel like I've seen like not to get personal, but like I've had experiences where I feel like there was you know God really pulled me out of that, like traumatic experiences, physical traumatic.
Christian prayer can affect real life outcomes.
I agree with this. Ooh, I like this. See, I like this. Tell, I like this. See,
You guys raise your hand. Prayer in the Christian context. So to you guys, what is the Christian context?
If you guys enjoy engaging in these kind of debates, discussion, conversations, and want to participate yourself, the Diamond Mountain Foundation is hosting an essay competition with.
y'all get on that.
You're going to say before a meal, like everybody knows.
Yeah, the Bible is.
You guys seek God in your daily life. You try to do that's at least one thing.
You're going to say before a meal, like everybody knows.
Yeah, the Bible is.
Writing about topics like the ones in this video. So if you're interested, go to the first link in the description to learn more. Now let's get back to the video.
What is the Christian context?
You guys seek God in your daily life. You try to do that's at least one thing.
You're going to say before a meal, like everybody knows.
Yeah, the Bible is y'all structure of how y'all basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Oh, that there's an afterlife with heaven and hell. That's a part of the context.
So we already know another person has a predetermined bias.
I guess what is for you guys? How do you define prayer?
I would define prayer as like
we don't.
you can talk to him right before you go to bed. You can talk to him in moments of problems. Like I think you can talk to him out loud in your head, right? So I think it's like for me, I got my own ways that I'm doing that, and it's working for me. And so if it's working for you, that's great. I am not talking to a man in the sky because I'm a woman with a vagina. But
You don't want a sky
guys,
daddy, huh?
and there's women, and that is totally fine, and you guys can figure that out.
Okay, now she's kind of losing me because I don't know what she's talking about, how this relates to
On
this.
your own thing.
I don't
So
knock that because my brother is he's big into it, and he was saying like God, he talks to him as if that's his homeboy. Oh, if this is that, I want you to do this and blah 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 blah. And it so happens, and then somebody say 11:11, and then that happened.
exactly.
I don't know. How to make
Say that
with
again, Jay?
So I'm saying, however it works for you, just because my brother was saying like McKenna was saying like I need to know like if this is it, this is what it's gonna be like. Show me. And my brother, he's like a minister actually, a licensed minister. So he was just saying like, oh, like if you're God and you're this, what I'm saying, you need to do this. And I want you to do this. Talk to him as if it's like you and I. You're talking and somehow, not saying some miracle, but some breakthrough or whatever energy, whatever intention was behind that, it worked out for him. And so I was just saying, being funny that someone can say 11:11, let's put into it, and then we have some coins, we got money. You know what I'm saying? And we have, I'm just saying.
That's why
I don't know how our brain. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why.
See, no, actually, he puts up a good, interesting point. He's saying because he's his brother was praying to God, like hoping, put his energy towards wanting whatever he was wanting. That's really why. Yeah, the same way if someone was like, oh, 11:11, they make a wish or something, and then they get what they want because they're putting the energy behind it.
Agree with y'all because I get it. Like Sam said, whatever you put into it, the energy is like
a lot of different things.
I
So
was going to say, like, to change the conversation around a bit, like, what would be the issue with like sitting in quiet meditation, focusing on an outcome, and speaking to, say, a universal source, or speaking to the triumvirate, or speaking to even Allah? Like, what would be the issue with it? How would that change how you saw prayer? Like, would you consider that to be possible, or just
yeah, that's a good question.
Okay,
Maybe and I genuinely believe like the things you'll get. Say you pray for a new car, but you manifest a new car. You meditate. You and to get yourself a new car, and that car's gonna come out with a lot of issues. You can do everything, tires, engine, all kinds of issues. But if you pray to God, you're gonna have a good, perfect car. That's what I believe. And maybe some people's personal experience disputes that, but like I said, your life is your life, my life is my life. This is what I choose to do with my life.
that the world has with the concept of when we say, hey guys, I don't know what to tell you, but this is what we believe, and I'm not trying to say you have to believe it either. I hope you do, but I'm not trying to push you in that direction.
That's totally.
Is that
Okay.
I hope
I'm gonna skip past that one too. Sum it up, like I said earlier, I believe this is what I just believe. I believe God, the supreme God of the universe. I believe He created the earth. He chose Earth. He picked out the earth. He set up humanity above all in His image. And then these pagan gods, I believe they're fallen angels, and they breed with some human women and made Nephilim, and and that's what these pagans worship. And I believe, like I said, the gifts you receive from these gods will have negative impacts, like a monkey part will have negative impacts and bad energy attached. But there's one God sent multiple prophets who were mostly Jewish, and He gave a Messiah one way to give salvation to the world, which is Jesus Christ. He's the one way. And anything that doesn't come from him, I believe, has some bad energy attached. I mean, this man, he only preached love your enemies, love your neighbors as yourself, love your enemy as yourself. If someone slaps you, turn the other cheek. He preached peace and love God and love your neighbor as yourself. That's the two commandments. Be a servant, sell your items, give to the poor. Like, why would you not want to follow this man? I know a lot of his so-called followers have made a bad name, but like, read it. This is God. 'Cause why would God say anything else but treat your fellow man as, love yourself and love the Lord?
Christianity of today is
Total opposite.
come to church, do what we tell you, and fuck gay people, So
Yeah, and just to speak to that, this is where the church is full of imperfect people. And in the same way that
The hospital has sick people.
you truly understand his love, you want to be transformed by God from the inside out, and that is actually part of the mission, is like, we don't want to be people that are staying in our own little herd of Christians. Like, my hope is to love everybody and love people to the point, like, it's so radical because God has loved me in such a radical way. Because if I look at my own life, my own heart, and
I like her. She gets to admit she understands.
how ugly it can be, I'm like, gosh, like, I want to love people the way God's loved me. And I think that what you're saying is completely it's not wrong, because a lot of Christians, because we are flawed, because we are sinners, we haven't loved people perfectly, because we can't, because we're not perfect. And so we want
to say, can I ask, if the current state of Christianity is largely viewed as, let's just say, homophobic, for example, why would you choose to align yourself with that and call yourself a Christian and ride for that and preach that, knowing that you have like sentiments of
My thoughts on that, that's a pretty big. I was letting them get their topics out. I mean, their thoughts out. You know, I know plenty of gay people, and I live in a small rural town in America, and I know plenty of gay people who like there's no way they weren't gay. Like we've known they were gay since before when we were kids, before we knew what gay we even was. We knew they were gay or they turned out to be studs or things like that. And I don't think it's a choice they can make. And like I said, I don't like. Luckily, I don't have to deal with this, but I'm just saying I don't think if there's a gay person and they upheld God, they love, they give to the poor, they treat everybody like as itself. They don't, get angry. They don't look for revenge. They uphold God's commandments, but they just happen to be gay. I don't know if Jesus would just deny them salvation, knowing how much God's mercy is. I know it says it's a detestable and an abomination, but I don't know. I don't think I don't think Christians should treat gay people as harshly as they do. I don't. And I think God's mercy was the sacrifice of Christ is, I think it's meant for all people, and I think, that it stings to gay people. That's just my personal thoughts. Now, like he said though, in scripture it says man should not lie with man, and like I said, that's what it says. And if that's the case, I'm sorry. Hopefully y'all make it to the purgatory and not the full hell. Hopefully y'all can, spend a couple years in purgatory and then join the righteous in heaven. But I'm not one to judge. My sins are my sins, and their sins are their sins.
Question.
So I'm answering it. And
What's wrong?
what if because you are, I'm not saying you are, but I'm saying in general, what if one is gay, all right? And by nature, it's just that's the way you are. What if that means is that God has a very specific, extra special calling for
I've already lost you. Can I just, because I don't like that, where we're going next. Let me say this.
Yeah, I just like I said, I don't think I like some things he was saying, but I don't think I don't know. I think he's off
I
target.
feel like the Bible has a denotation. The Bible has connotations. The Bible's changed over centuries. I feel like saying all gay people are like have AIDS, that's not a connotation that gay people recognize. That's a connotation that the world put onto gay people.
Well, and Christians don't recognize the connotation that you're talking about.
Well,
either.
but that's what I'm trying to say. There's lots of different parts of Christianity. There's lots of different ways that people take the Bible. There's lots of different connotations that people choose to believe are real. There's lots of those connotations that aren't great. There's plenty of those connotations that are fine, right? But if the whole spirit of Christianity is tainted by these different connotations that different sects of your community are upholding, then what makes you want to remain aligned with it? And I think I got my answer, and that's okay.
Which is what?
Which is that you don't necessarily like align with. Let me not say that. I feel like you are not of gay experience, and so you have never really had to interrogate that. And so I think it's easy for people who have never had experiences to explain these things away and to just say, oh well, just don't have sex, or whatever you're trying to say. Just renegotiate being gay in the eyes of God. And some of us would rather just live freely outside of connotations like that have been decided by organizations.
So I think I'm gonna end the video off here. and respond to that. I think he like I said at the beginning of the video, he's gonna have. I knew he had he said that he mentioned a gay experience, so he's definitely been I think verbally assaulted by, hopefully not physically, but definitely verbally assaulted by Christians, and probably they probably claimed in the name of Jesus, but and he's been adverse to Christianity, so he doesn't realize that there's nothing like that's not what Jesus would want him to do. When people brought up a woman who had sinned in front of a whole crowd, he didn't verbally and publicly condemn her like that. He doesn't read the Bible, so he doesn't know why are in there. Stories like that are in there and why they're important. And so only his more main experience with the Bible has been like the Leviticus, the homophobia, and it's a shame. But to that extent, Jesus has a quote. He says, "Anybody who misleads the lost, any children, better than I don't know the exact quote, but it's not gonna be good." That's misleading people away from the religion. The fact that he had the punk had a point about uh the connotations, and he did pose. I'm gonna make it. He that was a very good question. Why would you want to align with that? He doesn't realize this is something like sacred to us, something we hold dear. Like this is deep religion. Like since he's an atheist, he doesn't really understand how important religion is to people, or he doesn't understand why, or he doesn't see the point in it, I guess. And and it's not his fault. It's not his sexuality's fault. It's the Christians who've attacked him. I've known plenty of gay people who've come to the faith, and that's why I believe, they they will salvation will be extended upon them. And I don't. And so unfortunately, people like him might not get it because of Christians, but those Christians who assault him will not get it themselves. You can't enter the kingdom of heaven with hate in your heart. I know I call him a punk, but that's just a joke, and that's just a funny term. But I'm not homophobic. But that I'm gonna have a lot to edit. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I mean, rambling, and I hope everybody comes to salvation, even if you don't agree with modern Christianity and especially American Christianity. I wholeheartedly agree with you, but I hope you read the Bible independently and come to understanding and a relationship with Jesus, because I want everybody to make it to heaven. I know they won't, but I want as many people as possible.